DDS camp, and let's see about the other Dutertes if they run. Now, let's transition now, of course, to speaking of ICC, one of the persons who has been advising BBM, at least until he became complete opposition, is Harry Roque. I just want to ask you, Justice Carpio, because you're not just a former top level jurist. I mean, you were part of the Supreme Court. You are also a democracy advocate, right? You are a believer in the EDSA project, from my understanding, or at least the promise of the EDSA project. How do you feel about certain people who are presidential spokesman of Duterte after being an ex-human rights lawyer, supporting the unity team during the SMNI debate, if I can call that a debate, saying wala siyang nahanap na ebidensya na may maling ginawa ng Marcoses, in a sense by saying wala daw kaso sa korte, wala daw Supreme Court. And then now, invoking people power, BBM resigned, yung mga talking about Marcos court cases in the US, implying, and interestingly, I heard this also from my friends in China, implying that the reason naging matapang ang BBM sa China is because baka yung mga Amerikano nagpakabait on issues that I mean, what's at sinabi niya balentong ba yung term ni si BBM, but wait, speaking of balento, I mean, like, this is nuts. What's going on here, Justice Carpio?
Well, that's I think vintage Harry Roque, because remember before he joined the Duterte cabinet, he said that Duterte was a serial murderer. He said that on camera, and then he became the spokesperson. he joined the cabinet. So I think that's the way some people are. So we should just take note of that.
Okay. Well, speaking of vintage, well, I mean, what is your read on Duterte? Si Duterte, magulo talagang taong yan, nanggugulo yan. Do you think, from your understanding of vintage Duterte, do you think he will be, again, di umano'y, involved in some destabilizing? I mean, Senator Trillanes openly talking about coup attempts, right? Ikaw, what's your understanding of vintage Duterte on this? You dealt with him a lot in the not best and friendliest terms. Yeah.
Well, the son and the two sons who are in government have asked demanded that President Marcos Jr. step down, in effect, to allow the sister to become president. And the former President Duterte himself has been repeating that the incumbent president is bangag, and saying, I mean, he keeps on repeating that the incumbent president is a drug addict, and I mean, that's the worst thing that you can say against a sitting president. So I think their division is irreconcilable already. I mean, the point of no return has long been reached.
Yeah,
and,
as we say in Ilocano, awanen. It's over. It's over. Awanen. Wala na to. I mean, speaking of, again, before we go, papunta na tayo sa China, your favorite country and embassy in Manila. Justice, speaking of BBM, vintage BBM, I was a bit impressed. Kutob nga namin, ito, alam ko mabasha, pero feeling ko napanood nila kami ni Ronald Llamas kasi sabi namin, dapat matapang si BBM, dapat babardagulan niya yung mga marites na yan. So, kahapon, tinanong siya sa Jensen, di ba, about itong Ahente Morales. Sabi niya, ano yan eh, jukebox, ano yan eh. Parang jukebox king yan, lalagay mo ng coins. Kakanta siya ng, I mean, that was funny. I mean, I never saw BBM like that, yung talagang bardagulan. Professional lang. Parang sinintia Villan to eh, di ba? So, do you think BBM is stepping up also? Kasi ang tawag sa kanya ni Marlica, yung magaling na vlogger, ay Kuting, di ba? Hindi tayo, pero Kuting. Pero hindi, medyo si Kuting nagle-level up na, medyo baby tiger na, baby cub na.
Well, I think he has to respond because the attacks are becoming too vicious now. I mean, paulit-ulit. I mean, he has really to fend off the attack. He cannot. He's not a Teflon guy, no. So to preserve his credibility, he has to fight back.
Yeah, he's not Teflon. His numbers went down by 14 points just the other quarter. So Huwag siya mag-feeling Duterte na he can get away with it. Yeah, so I appreciate the president fighting back. And you have to draw the line, di ba? Binabastos ka, presidente ka.
Yeah.
Kawawa pa si Maricel Soriano, dinamay pa nila doon. Pero kutob ko, sumikat lalo si Maricel ngayon. Yung mga Gen Z na hindi nila kilala. Sino to? Napakagaling to ah. Tapos si Bato de la Rosa, feeling ko hindi gagana yung career niya. Gusto niya maging Tito Boy Abunda. Totoo ba na ganitong araw, ito ang ginawa mo? Totoo ba na binugbog mo yung dalawang ano? Bakit ba sila bugbugin? Dalawa sila. Wala nang career ni Bato. Tapos na yung showbiz career niya. Justice Garber, let's go to this. Wow. Expulsion of the Chinese ambassador. Ito na yung level of discussion ngayon. Is it that bad? I mean, the reason I'm saying it's that bad is, Justice Garber, what's going on with this mayor go situation in Tarlac? Biglang napakita nung 2022, naging mayor bigla. Hindi namin mahanap yung kanyang birth certificate until 17 siya. Hindi namin alam kung sino yung tatay niya. Nag-homeschooling daw siya buong buhay niya. Wala rin ebidensya. Nothing suspicious here. Oh, and by the way, malapit itong Tarlac town na yan sa Clark Air Base, right? So like, nothing suspicious here, right, Justice Carpio?
Well, it's very easy to dig into her past because you just ask her who were her friends when she was growing up, because she was growing up in the town, no, in Bamban. So she has to present people who knew her when she was in her teens, no. So she just popped up. So very strange, I think. But we have to get into the facts. We have to gather more facts.
Yeah, I mean, it's just insane, the whole thing. Bigla na lumitaw, 2022, naging mayor na. I mean, this is like worse than Banana Republic. I mean, you can just become a mayor in another country. Again, of course, we are very careful not to get into prejudice and all of that. So, nakakabahala when, people try to make xenophobic comments. But at the same time, hindi naman tayo pwede mangmang lang na ini-infiltrate tayo ng ganyan, assuming this is a case of infiltration. Speaking of which, now there's an open accusation by our top officials, NSC, DND, na baka itong, di umano'y, itong mga embassy ng China dito ay involved na talaga into, for the lack of better term, what the Soviet Union used to do in Europe during the Cold War period. I mean, influence operations, disinformation campaign, mga accusations of deep fake audios, mga ganon. Like, wow, this is like Cold War. This is like Berlin. And what's going on here?
Well, I think you have to go back to the time of former President Duterte, where they were very loose in the protocol. I mean, the Chinese ambassador could visit the president anytime in Davao, and the president would go to his hotel or to his where he's staying, and it was just like they were good friends. They would drink and just talk the whole night. So there was this breakdown of protocol during the third administration as far as China was concerned, because the other embassies maintained that protocol. They could not, whenever they want to talk to the president, they of course it through proper channels. But the Chinese ambassador could just go there anytime. And I think it cascaded down to even some embassy officials when they talk to our military people. I mean, they could just text our AFP chief of staff or the army chief, the navy chief, and it's very strange. It never happens in other countries. So the Chinese embassy people would just go to Westcom and talk to the Westcom guy without coursing it through the proper channels. So I think it started because of that culture during the time of President Duterte.
You're saying trickle-down recklessness from
Yes.
national security. I mean, that's the best term I can.
Yes.
This is trickle-down, the cluster mess, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's not forget also Chinese airplanes, aircrafts landing in Davao without, I don't know, anyone knowing in AF. I mean, that was crazy, right? Parang Banana Republic. But Justice Garby,
there's one more point. And this is a lesson to all government officials. They should never just talk to Chinese embassy officials because they can easily be misquoted. They could be taped. So they should never talk. they should refer the Chinese embassy people to the DFA. Let DFA do the talking. And if DFA wants input from them, they can join. But they should never on their own just entertain these Chinese embassy officials when these Chinese embassy officials appear in their offices. I mean, we are very friendly people. I mean, if the ambassador visits you, of course you would entertain, but they have to think twice because of this incident. Because of this incident,
Right.
they should be on guard now.
Well, first of all, Justice Gar, let me say I vehemently disagree with you because an ambassador is allowed to talk to a provincial governor. Last time I checked.
Yeah, not when he will say that, oh, I am negotiating an agreement on sovereign rights with the governor. I mean, you don't do
I'm
that.
just saying, like, if I'm a governor, dumating yung ambassador ng bayan ko, welcome to the province of China,
Yeah,
sir.
you are welcome, but you do not negotiate on, okay, the mission, the resupply mission will be 1-to-1, only one Coast Guard vessel and one from the Philippines, one from the China, and you will only bring food and water, no construction materials. That's a different thing. That's not being courteous anymore. Those are substantive matters
Yes.
involving sovereign rights. And a general just cannot discuss that without the DFA people around. So I mean, of course, when you meet these foreign diplomats, you will be courteous to them, even if you're a government official. But you never discuss matters of sovereign rights, sovereignty, and make an agreement.
I want to ask on this because, I was talking also to Admiral Ong the other day and di ba may protocols yan? Like, if you deal with the country na medyo, for the lack of better term, sinasakop yung bansa mo or what, you use intelligence officials to oversee it. Dapat both sides record it. Everything has, para wala nang compromat, di ba? Wala nang
That's right.
blackmailing.
Yeah, yeah.
This one looks like
Yeah.
bara-bara. I mean,
Yeah.
probably